Okay. Yeah, I'm not a pro at this. It's going to be very obvious to you all. I don't know what to do with the microphone. Is that good? Can you hear me? Okay. Yay! Thank you so much for being here. Okay, let's try to get through the evening without crying. I don't know. No, crying's okay. Crying's good. I'm super excited. So my name is June Hayworth Gotham, and this is the amazing Lisa McClellan. And we're going to be co-facilitating tonight. I'm a transracial, transnational, adopted, and displaced person from Korea. I'm a writer and a community organizer, and this event tonight is the intersection of my work and my passion, and I could not be happier to be here. I changed my opening remarks this morning. Pardon me if I read from them. Kind of freaked out a little bit and was like, no, I'm going to change it all up. So here we go, bear with me. So I want to share something with you all that came up for me in therapy, which is, we're all friends here, and so I talk about this stuff. This is all trauma bonding anyway, right? So I told my therapist just the other day, just a couple days ago, Thursday, she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. How do you feel? And I was like, I'm scared. And she laughed at me, and I was like, that's not funny. and I laughed. It's kind of funny. But in that session, what we discovered was that fear is only a really small part of what I've been feeling. What I've actually been experiencing is excitement, anticipation, inspiration, hope, gratitude that these amazing authors came here tonight. Awe for this community, love for all of the people who helped make this. So all of these feelings and fear this feeling. If you're an adopted person, you likely understand the habit of squashing your feelings down, limiting them, making them small, giving them a label so that you can get rid of them even faster. Maybe when you were a kid, you weren't allowed to have your big feelings, and they were labeled so somebody else could manage them. My therapist told me about the origin of the word abracadabra, or if you grew up in Michigan like me, abracadabra. I was going to make a joke about the Steve Miller Band, but I was like, oh, you can know that I'm bold. Some of you are old. Abracadabra is an ancient Kabbalist mysticism word meaning I create as I speak. So like the magic hand. I was like, I gotta change my opening remarks. It's the magic wand. So it's speaking something into existence. And she said that I was creating fear as I spoke. When I said I'm scared, I was making myself scared. I was trying to get this thing. Power of words, right? It's kind of a cool thing. I tell you all of this to say that this is a big night. I'm having lots of big feelings. I hope a lot of you are also having some big feelings, and we'll have some big feelings during this event because these people are amazing. In an email exchange at this event, Alice Stevens said, "Today was a seminal moment in adoptee rated community history." Super, super cool, so very real. And then last night, Shannon Gibney mentioned how special this is and that a big public event like this is a first. To have an all BIPOC adoptee author lineup. With each author having at least one published book out in the world, all in the different genres. So amazing. So adoption stories have been historically told from the perspective of big business. The adoption industrial complex, policymakers, adoptive parents, particularly white adoptive parents with money and power. and not BIPOC adoptees ourselves. So one reason we're here is because we're part of a movement for reclaiming our stories, sharing ourselves and our own voices. And this event feels like evidence on how powerful our movement is and how we are actually really starting to shift things. And these authors are abracadabra a new reality into existence with their words, their powerful words. And thank you all for being here. It's already amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Janae. I probably won't create any words. That is like a word abracadabra. I don't got that. So Janae said, my name's Lisa McClellan. I'm a domestic transracial adoptee. I was born and raised in the state of Wyoming. There might be one or two transracial adoptees from Wyoming watching on live stream right now, and to those, I say hello. So I'm an environmental scientist turned library worker who was raised by an elementary school teacher, my mom. My mom loved part of that obsession with both books and reading onto me. It was through books that I feel like I was finally able to kind of see parts of myself, see myself, come to understand myself, and really come into my consciousness as an adoptee and really form my own opinion on adoption, not that one that was given to me by my parents or by the industrial complex. It was my own, and it was from. I feel like I have beautiful, vulnerable, authentic stories shared by all of these authors. I've read all of their works. All of them truly, truly touched my life, changed my life, and it's something I return to their words, and I always find comfort. I always find kinship. I was just telling Susan, I read her book twice recently, and I just really want to thank you all for being here and for sharing your words. And I want to thank you guys, everyone else here, for getting this tonight as well. To be here to just be a part of this amazing event. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So before we get into our official programming, I'd like to read a land acknowledgement and liberation statement that was written in part by the Voices BIPOC Adoptee Community Organization and in part by the Radius of Arab American Writers. BIPOC adoptees have suffered family separation, and many of us have also been ethnically displaced. Many of us are immigrants who have been separated from our homeland, stemming from imperial and colonial injustices. Many in our adoptee community come from ancestors indigenous to this. These adoptees suffer losses of family and culture not only through family separation, but as a result of historical, violent settler colonialism that separated indigenous people from their culture, degraded the land, and continues to oppress. Here currently fighting on the several bands of Chinook-speaking people, including the Multnomah, Clackamas, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Malala, and Wasco peoples, the Chinook Nation, including the Clatsop and the Katlamet, the Cowlitz, and other nations whose homes ran along the Columbia and Willamette rivers. As BIPOC adoptees, we offer our deep respect and solidarity to all of these tribal nations. We also need to acknowledge that we are gathering during an active genocide and horrific humanitarian crisis taking place in Gaza, as well as in the Congo, Sudan, and other parts of the world. The current violence in Gaza is only the most recent continuation of settler colonial violence under decades of Israeli occupation and apartheid. We stand in solidarity with the victims of genocide, violent colonialism, and unfettered capitalism, just as we stand with the native peoples whose ancestral homelands this event is being held. We stand firmly against anti-Blackness and recognize that police violence and all other forms of white supremacist violence, including removing Black history from our textbooks and Black authors from our libraries, must be named and opposed. These forms of violence, along with transphobic and homophobic violence being legislated across the country, endanger the literal lives of people of color, trans, gay, queer, gender nonconforming, and non-binary people. Therefore, as we begin our event, we really want to underscore that none of us are free until we are all free. Freedom is not a finite resource. All anti-racist, liberationist, and decolonial struggles are intertwined. Now, I'm not just here as an interested adoptee and avid reader, but I'm also here representing Voices, a BIPOC adoptee community nonprofit organization and one of the partners for tonight's event. Our mission at Voices is to provide safe, inclusive, and supportive spaces for BIPOC adoptees to come together, share stories, build connections, and access adoptee-centered resources and programming. We host a variety of events, including storytelling, social mixers, and workshops, and we are currently organizing our very first BIPOC adoptee-only conference. We are absolutely thrilled to be collaborating with Constellation to bring these amazing authors to Portland tonight. So let me turn it back over to Shannon.
We're at Portland Center Stage. That's a big deal. The space is donated to us tonight, so thank you, Portland Center Stage. Events like this do not happen without community, unless you're rich, then events like this can happen. So thank you to our partners. Tim Howe, Mile, Portland Center Stage, Regional Arts and Culture Council, Travel Portland. Big love to the Constellation Reading Series, particularly Jessica Johnson and Armin. Of doing a themed event. They were fully, immediately all in and have been really supportive. Her allyship is deeply, deeply meaningful to me. And then a special thank you to Alice Stevens, who's representing the Silence Collective in the Adoptee Literary Festival. This whole event started because Alice and I were like DMing on Instagram, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could come out to Portland? And now, here she is, here we are. So Alice is gonna tell you a little bit about
Thank you. Oh my God. That's like right. I feel like a rock star. Just short description. The Starlings Collective's mission is to honor the experiences and elevate the work of BIPOC adoptee writers and artists. We envision a literary and artistic landscape where BIPOC adoptee writers and artists have agency and autonomy to advance and deepen their own narratives. The collective has just launched our first fellowship awarded to a poet in 2024. And in future years to writers in other genres. We hold a quarterly online book club featuring a discussion with the author open to all BIPOC adoptees. Our next meeting is in June with the incredible Susan Ito and her Additionally, we present panels about writing and adopted conferences and literary festivals. Please check out our website at thestarlingscollective.com. In 2022, the first ever Adoptee Literary Festival was held online, featuring panels on journalism, poetry, memoir, middle grade, and young adult and fiction. Co-founded by Marcy Calabretta-Concio-Bello and me, the festival brought together writers who self-identified as outlet foster otherwise displaced to create stories, make their voices heard, and reshape the narrative of adoption, which has for too long been dominated by adoptive parents and the adoption industry. This was an all-volunteer event and free to attend. We are currently seeking to organize the second literary festival. If you would like to offer your volunteer services, please send a note using the contact form at adopteelitfest.com. More information can be accessed at the website, including links to the 2022 event.
the reading, a few reminders. Please keep your phones on silent. Our program will end at 9 p.m. We do not have an intermission, so feel free to just leave if you need to take a break, use the restroom down the hall. That way, the lobby is open, there's water and snacks still available out there. And a few words on allyship. So this event was open to the public, and it's a mixed space of adopted people and non-adopted people, BIPOC and white folks. And I want to say that BIPOC adoptees have been particularly harmed by non-adopted people and white folks. So we want to be really intentional about the way we are together tonight. You should have received a do's and don'ts ally guide when you checked in. If you didn't, we've got handouts. They're a great resource if you're adopted person. Use this whenever you want. We've got feedback. And if you want to add something, like email us and let us know if we're missing a do or a don't. If you are a non-adopted person, this is a great primer for some of the things you should or should not do with our community. And the guide comes directly from things that we've experienced. Allyship, especially tonight, is about centering and celebrating BIPOC adoptees. And we are part of an intersectional movement, and movement building requires allyship, coalition building, and solidarity. So tonight, the movement building event. So thank you for being here. And then some final words, Lisa.
Thank you. Okay, one last thing. Gotta get to the reading. So for many of you, tonight's reading and discussion might be an emotional experience. We just want everyone here to feel empowered to take care of yourselves. So if that means you need to step out for a break, get outside and take a walk, maybe stretch or move your body some way in the lobby, please do that. Take care of yourselves. Throughout the evening, I just really want to encourage everybody to breathe. And also just pay attention to how you're feeling. So as you're hearing these things, what comes up in your body, what comes up in your mind, what do you feel? Really tap into yourself and connect with yourself. Because it's just an important thing, especially for us BIPOC adoptees. And I just know that these stories can really provide healing, as I talked about, but it's often a really long road to get there. And I know that a lot of emotions will come up along the way. So tonight, if you need a reminder to breathe or you want an affirmation for grounding, please grab cards you can find laying around. I put them and a check-in table on some of the tables outside. I'm an illustrator, and I created just these little affirmations and reminders with the adoptee experience in mind. So they're there just as a support mechanism, and you're welcome to grab them and do whatever, however you want to say, whatever you want to do. Please do that. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to bring on the audience. Okay, first off, they're up. Shannon Gibney. So, Shannon is a writer, educator, activist, and the author of See No Color and Dream Country, young adult novels that won the Award in 2016 and 2019. Gibney is faculty in English at the Minneapolis College, where she teaches writing. She was recently elected one of 3 educators in the entire Minnesota college and university system. A book artist and Ignite Writing Fellow, her new novel, The Girl I Am, was and never will be, explores themes of transracial adoption through speculative memoir. Gibney's Sam and the Incredible African American by adoptees, about adoptees, co-edited with them. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you all for being here, beautiful people. This is just been an incredible event so far, and it just began. But I just want to start off by recognizing that, and I want some call and response. We're about to get lit, right? So when I say adoptee, y'all say lit. Adoptee, adoptee. Okay. I think we're ready. Okay. So I am going to read just a few short sections from my new book. I call it my novel memoir, What the Fuck. It is a cross-genre collage project. And so there's two primary timelines. The first timeline is quote unquote what really happened. It's me, Shannon, Gibney growing up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in 1985 with my adoptive family. And then the other primary timeline is ours. My adopted that was birth given to me by my birth mother in my birth search when I was 19. So because I there in the two timelines. So sometimes Shannon, Aaron, and Hall and Shannon and things are weird. And then next level of the documents. So some documents from the adoption itself. Also pictures and letters that my and the last level of the book is brief essays on the absurdities of the adoptee. So I'm going to start off with a prologue just to orient everyone. I was born January 30th, 1975 in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The name on my birth certificate is Gibney, and my parents are listed as Jim and Susan Gibney. These are my white adoptive parents who raised me. They gave me the loafers I remember wearing almost 40 years ago. The backyard woods where my imagination first was theirs. The woman who gave birth to me and subsequently relinquished me was named Patricia Towers. She was a white, working-class Irish-American woman who had a short relationship with my African-American father, Boise Collins Jr. My birth mother made me Aaron Powers after I was born, but I didn't find that out until I was 19. I possess no childhood memories of either of them. I grew up with my white adoptive parents in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with two white brothers who were biologically related to my parents. When I was 19 and no longer a child in the eyes of the state, I embarked on a search for my possible birth siblings and my birth parents. I found my birth mother that still lived in her hometown of Utica, New York. Had a complicated on-again, off-again relationship from the mid-90s until her death in 2014. She was 58 when she passed. In my search, I also discovered that Boise Collins Jr. died from complications due to injuries he sustained during a high-speed police chase in Palo Alto, California in 1981, when I was 6. He was 35 at the time of his death. I discovered many other things through my search and research. I did not discover many things as well. I keep a particular hunger at bay with scraps of speculation. I have 2 living children of my own, 14 and Shannon, and 1 dead, CNA. This is one way to tell the story in this place. What follows are other ways to tell the stories of Shannon and Aaron, the known and the unknown, truth and speculation, to awaken the sleepers, to call forth the living, the dead, and those residing elsewhere. And now I'm just going to read one of the micro essays. The literature of adoption is a fictional genre in itself. Adoptees know it to be generally as fantastical as any space opera, and just as entertaining to the masses. Every story must begin with a vulnerable but good-hearted, poor birth mother who loves her baby very much, but cannot take care of it. The birth father is always conspicuously absent. There is a kindly, upper middle class, usually white couple who desperately want a child and have pursued all avenues in order to get one. If the couple is adopting internationally, they are in a rich country in the global north and have spent years on various lists waiting for an available child, many times spending thousands of dollars. They fight, despite all odds, to build their family for adoption, in the process creating a healthy, happy, thriving child who eventually grows into a healthy, happy, thriving adult who is bonded perfectly with their new part-life family. All this miraculous transformation from a poor, brown, half-cut orphan. Love conquers all. My editor told me I thought the book was done. I was like, no, I think there's another level. You need to have a 25 face. I'll need to do that experience. I'm like, oh, you want that? I want Once the birth mother has given up the child, she is no longer part of the story. Once the child is adopted, there is no talk of loss of first family, culture, language, or community. The adoption is simply a bureaucratic event that happened and then is over. Since the birth father was not part of the story from the beginning, he is not part of the adoptee story as it progresses. And if you ask about any of the particularities of this literature of adoption, who is adopted? Where to where? What are the racial dynamics of the transaction? The role that money plays, corruption, the trauma of removal, the burden of relation for branded and angry, maladjusted adoptees. When most of the literature about a marginalized group of people comes from white adoptive parents who are psychologists, sociologists, creative writers, and professors who don't identify themselves as adoptive parents in their objective work, what other possible outcome could there be? This is how I came to understand epistemological in my body. And I'm just going to read a short section. This is actually a scene. And this is where 10-year-old me actually has the opportunity to meet my birth father. I always say that in life, I never had a chance to meet him, but in art. When he hears the transmission go out again, he pulls off to the side of the bay shore. The Oldsmobile 442 was never meant to be a reliable car. My father bought it because of its sheer brawn and audacious bright vision, and because his friend Teddy was willing to sell it to him for its last $6. 10 years old and mostly filled with half-price replacement parts, the car chugs along well enough until it doesn't. My father has to pull out his bag of sticks he perfected in a short Air Force day. Motherfucker, he says, in the slow drawl the black man can use to massage the expletive. The car shudders one last time before he turns off the engine. It has been increasingly difficult to get it to stay in gear, but he was hoping it would last at least another week until he's sure to get that windfall from the appliance scam. God damn it. He feels better the louder he cusses, so he says it again, and then hits the steering wheel a few times for good measure. Why is everything going so completely shittily? He had a plan, a good one. Harry would lift the product, he and Jorge would deliver it to Francie for the resale, and everyone would get paid and late, as they say. But Harry had some hiccups lifting the product. Jorge was busy on another day until Tuesday, And Francie had to temporarily close down shop since the pigs had been sticking around lately. Story of my father's life, my father thinks to himself. Then he gets out of the car and slams the door so hard, he thinks for a moment he has broken the door handle. But no, when he tickles it, he finds that he can still open the door. Get off the back, man, he says as the cars whiz past. This ain't that bad, really. Plenty worse. Hands shaking, he takes out his pack of cigarettes and his lighter. The memories will come now. Not all of them praise, but plenty to make his brain feel broken, his heart overwhelmed. His parents in one of the arguments screaming while he hides under the table alone, just a toddler. Sister Delphine calling for him to call her at 14 when two people were using who dragged her inside the shed. His first snort of coke, how it raced through his veins and woke up every single cell. And later, his first tube heroin, feeling seemingly ever-present pain. The woman, all of the women, many of them kind, some of them not, we could never see what they wanted. My father's hands are shaking hard now as he works through the avalanche of memories falling through his body. Although his thumb will not be still, he somehow manages to get it to flip the lighter and then slowly moves his hand and the cigarette toward the flame. He takes and he breathes sweet relief of nicotine, which he knows will help get the memories moving from endless stuff, all hiding places inside him. My damn brain, he thinks. Just get it to shut the fuck up. But then his brain is what got him into the Air Force in the first place. You're the smart one in this family, Junior, his father used to tell him. Don't waste it. My father takes another drag and blows the smoke out ruefully. But you did, didn't you? Turns around facing the highway, letting the shock of the speeding passing cars overwhelm him. Sometimes that is enough to get his brain out of the stuck place. And then, out of nowhere, it seems a miracle. A song appears in his mind. The lyrics are something about moving like God's immaculate machine. My father frowns. He can't actually place the song, although he knows it's Paul Simon. Where has he heard this? How does he know it even? One trick pony, I say suddenly beside him. My father jumps. Who? He glances around himself, trying to discover where I've come from, I suppose. I shrug. He of all people should know the answer to that question. From Paul Simon, though. My father peers at me incredulously, taking in my frizzy fourth grade afro, my hand-me-down pink and gray shorts, and faded Star Wars t-shirt. Who the hell are you? How did you get here? Where are your parents? I laughed, delighted at this question. There was something familiar about his voice, some quality I can't quite pinpoint. I'm Shannon. He takes a step back and clearly disturbed. He looks around, taking in the wide expanse of the highway, the boxy office buildings that dot the landscape. I don't see them anywhere. And he shakes his head. And I don't understand him. How'd you? I wasn't singing out loud, was I? No, I wasn't. How did you know? I step close to him, as close as I can, so that our hands are almost touching. What song was in your head? Because I heard it too. I hear it. My other dad plays it all the time in Ann Arbor. Me and my brothers love it. We even made a dance to it. Want to see? My father shakes his head slowly. No. I shuffle my gangly legs and sing a few lyrics as best as I can. Something like that. I frown. But I can't remember it very well right now for some reason. I think because I'm not supposed to be here. This piques my father's interest. What do you mean? I cross my arms. I don't know. I just know that the timelines got botched. Then pieces and people from one place get put in another, and the strangest things. I cannot finish my sentence because I feel a ripple like electricity shot through me. Oh my God, I was screaming. What the fuck is going on? What was that? I fall to the ground once the ripple has passed. I feel exhausted, like someone has pushed all the air out of me. What did you see? Pulling at the ends of his shirt, articulating violently the next. You were like invisible or something, like see-through. It was some Star Wars shit, something, I don't know. Like an electrical wave moved through you, almost as if you were fading out of here somewhere else, I say, finally catching my breath. I think my time here is almost up. He crouches down so that he is almost on the ground with me. Are you okay? His hand reaches out to touch my back, but when it makes contact, another electrical ripple surges through me, and I can see the tangle of trees, your house, before I'm ripped back to him. I gasp at the raw smack of the ground, at the shock of the environment. Oh my God, he exclaims, a spark ripping through my arm and singeing his own. I shake my head, knowing somehow that this is the last thing I will say to him before I go. Your brain is fine, Dad. He gave it to me too. He almost leaps away from the bed onto the highway itself. Watch out! I yell as a truck barrels dangerously close to him. The driver honks his horn, and my father, Boise Collins Jr., runs back beside me, except that I'm no longer there. I'm back home already. Thank you.
I just finished that book. Everybody, Susan Ito is here. I just read the book too, and it's amazing. Susan Sheher is the author of the memoir "I Would Meet You Anywhere," published by the Ohio State University Press, and a finalist for the 2023 National Book He co-edited the literary anthology "A Ghost at Heart's Edge: Stories and Poems of Adoption." Awarded residencies at the McDowell Colony, the Mesa Refuge, Hedgebrook, and the Blue Mountain Center. Her theatrical adaptation of Untold: Stories of Reproductive Stigma was produced at Brava Theater. She teaches at the Mills College campus of Northeastern University. Hi, everyone. That is great. Okay. I am just so honored and to be here in the company of for inviting us, and thank you to you all for coming and wanting to hear these stories. It's really, really meaningful for me. So my memoir, "I Would Meet You Anywhere," is about my story of being adopted biracial, Japanese American, and white. And I was adopted by two Japanese American parents. I had the benefit of having that cultural continuity. I'm going to read a couple of short sections from two different parts of the book. One of them, I really wanted to read this in this adoptee-centered space because it's about when I first went to my first adoptee meeting, and I was 18 years old, and I had actually heard about this group, ALMA, the Adoptees Liberty Movement Association, when I was 13, and I read my first adoptee memoir by Florence Fisher, and in the back, it had the address of this organization. I wrote to them immediately, and I said, I want to sign up.
And they said, well, we would love to help you, but you need to be 18 in order to be a member. So when I turned 18, I wrote to them again, and they said, come on down, we meet monthly in New York City. So I was going to college in upstate New York, and I would take the bus surreptitiously down to New York City. This is me at my first meeting. I was excited for my first meeting of the Adoptee Liberty Movement Association, ALMA. I had been wanting to join the power since I had been 13 and read the memoir of their founder, Florence Fisher. The name sounded revolutionary. I imagined adoptees, bandanas tied around our faces, charging into the Hall of Records, demanding our birth certificates, the names of our parents, all the vital secrets that had been kept for us so long. I rode a jittery elevator to the second floor and entered a room filled with folding chairs and people holding cups of coffee and tea. The sound of excited voices was deafening. I clutched my purse and notebook to my chest. Stacks of literature were strewn across a long table, and I picked up a few pastel-colored flyers. Each was imprinted with the Alma logo of a mother holding an infant and the words, "The truth of his origin is the birthright of every person." I found an empty chair and sat down, reading slowly, the words blurring in front of my eyes. I scanned reprints of newspaper articles featuring photos of people embracing. Happy reunion. Registry proves to be vital link for mother and daughter. Need to know. I tried to focus and read the stories, but I could barely sit still in my chair. A woman with short comes to the seat next to me. Occupied? I tucked my legs in to let her pass. Oh no. She stuck her hand right into mine. Her fingers were long, unhesitating, and strong. Are you an adoptee? Nobody ever asked me this question. So directly and so out loud. Adoptee. I nodded. I guess I am. When's your birthday? She opened her purse and applied burgundy-colored lipstick. This made me laugh. August 11th, 1959, and my name is Susan. Oh, right, I'm sorry. She smacked her palm on her forehead. I always forget to ask that first. I'm Dana Davis. I'm a Leo too, but a few years older. I just started coming here a few ago, and I've gotten very far yet. Are you student? So, the purpose turned to speak out on it. The audience I wasn't sure natural families, he said. Roxas-Chua photo and their faces together. They did resemble each other. discuss adoptees. Dana all that was from the day. Thank you. And it one time that my brother and my parents and I um, met her. we all had today. Like Hello, ready for the counselor. Others prefer, I hope you waiting. Responding to unresolved, trying to get a horse together. Made was whatever is glamorous, more stylish. Susan, could you excuse me? I've got to go forward, huddling over the table, and said a bunch of your parents.